April O'Neil is without a doubt the Turtles' most iconic sidekick, and for a while she was treated as an older sister to the Turtles. But the creators of the 2012 show decided to do something different. Instead of making her a full-grown adult like in most other versions, they decided to make her a teenager just like the Turtles. Not only that, they decided to give her psychic abilities that were highlighted many times throughout the series. And let's just say most fans hate this version of April for a major reason. But is that all there is to her? I mean, she can't be that bad, right? Well, join me today as we take a look at the 2012 version of April, a character full of controversy. We first meet April in the debut episode, Rise of the Turtles. While the Turtles are out on the surface for the first time, Donnie spots April and her dad Kirby walking down the street, and let's just say he develops some feelings for her.
She's the most beautiful girl I've ever seen.
Isn't she the only girl you've ever seen?
Then all of a sudden they get kidnapped by some strange men, and the Turtles try and rescue them but fail. Later on in the night they come to their rescue again, and Donnie is able to rescue April but not her father. At the end of the episode, the Turtles promise they'll get her father back someday. After this, April becomes good friends with the Turtles and starts hanging out with them more often. And we don't really learn of her psychic powers until the episode Monkey Brains, so Splinter decides to train her into a Kunoichi, which is a female ninja, which causes April to get more involved in the Turtles' missions and even finds out the Krang are after her and not her father. The Foot Clan learns of this as well, so April spends an episode on the run from Karai. Donnie also helps her father escape, but it turns out he's been mind-controlled by the Krang, so he hands April over to them so they can experiment on her, but luckily the Turtles come to her rescue. The following season changes a ton regarding April, because in the season opener, the Turtles mess up one of their missions and cause her dad to get mutated into a mutant bat. April gets fed up with them and distances herself from the Turtles for a while. And while she's doing that, she gets introduced to a boy at her school named Casey Jones. The two of them start to hang out more often after school, which of course causes Donnie to get jealous. But eventually, April starts to miss her friends and makes amends with them later on. April later discovers that her DNA is made up of half human, half Krang DNA, which is why she has these psychic powers, which also means she's a half human, half mutant. Casey also fully gets introduced to the Turtles later on, which definitely causes some issues between him and Donatello, which starts a never-ending love triangle between the three of them. April's dad also gets turned back to normal during this time, but not for long because during the Krang's invasion of New York, April's dad gets turned into a Krang-like alien. Everyone is forced to flee New York due to the Krang's power, and they end up heading to April's family farmhouse. In one episode, they discover an old Krang ship in her basement, and find her mom inside, but as it turns out, this isn't actually April's mom, and it's just some clone that turns into a monster. April also becomes blind for an episode, only being able to see through the eyes of a giant mutant worm bird thing. And I guess we gotta talk about it. The episode, A Foot Too Big. Donnie creates a music box for April, which she awkwardly rejects, and the Turtles discover Bigfoot in the woods. And it turns out Bigfoot is actually a girl because she develops a crush on Donnie, which causes him to feel super uncomfortable. So at the end of the episode, he tells April he understands how she feels, and he'll stop bothering her because a mutant-human relationship just wouldn't work. But you wanna know what April does? She gives him a kiss on the cheek, which basically signifies she actually did have a bit of interest in him. So Donnie learns absolutely nothing in this episode. This episode is when I believe people genuinely started to turn their backs on this relationship. But most importantly, this is what made people really hate April. I mean, throughout the early seasons, April usually just ignored Donnie whenever he said something weird, or just showed she was completely uninterested. But giving him a kiss on the cheek here showed that maybe all this time she really did have a ton of interest. So it just made everyone look bad in my opinion. But once they return to New York, they set out on a search for Splinter. They find him, but his mind has deteriorated, and only April is able to help him turn back to normal. And it works. The Turtles are also able to turn everyone back to normal, including her dad, but in the Season 3 finale, the Triceratons now try to invade Earth. And they end up being successful by destroying the entire planet, but luckily the Turtles, April, and Casey are saved by a robot named Professor Honeycutt, who takes them back in time in a journey through space to stop the Triceratons from ever invading. And while in space, April gets given a crystal from the ancient eons. This crystal helps her abilities and training, but she starts to get more and more obsessive over the crystal as time goes on, and eventually her mind starts to get taken over by the crystal, which causes her to go crazy around the city, and she even turns Donnie into a million pieces. But luckily, she's able to break free and return to normal, and is also able to bring Donnie back. Oh, I also forgot to mention, she officially becomes a full-on Kunoichi, so she begins to join the Turtles in all their missions. She most importantly joins them to take down the Super Shredder, and she's even present when Splinter gets killed by him. She helps out in the season finale, and that was about it for stuff of importance. She shows up in a couple of the arcs during season 5, and even gets turned into a vampire at one point. But like I said, that's about it. Such a shame the writers kinda snubbed both her and Casey in that 5th season. But that's it for the 2012 version of April. And what an interesting character. I respect the creators for trying something new with her, and I'm one of the rare people that actually like her and Donnie's relationship. Was it a bit annoying at times when she was the centerpiece of the story? Yes. But she was a great ally to the Turtles with a unique backstory. So I would say, definitely underappreciated. But hey, don't forget, if you're new here, make sure you check out my other vids just like this one. Alright, that's all from me today, guys. Peace!